I wonder where this came
Because
from.
she came
I'm sure
she
she did.
came from a more traditional observance.
Yeah.
Irwin didn't, but she
Yeah.
did. So
It's okay. It's okay. I'm not sure I'll use this because I'm not sure where it comes from. You don't remember, Billy? Do you remember? It wasn't really how she rolled.
what?
More likely to be like a crossword puzzle.
So maybe it was in here. Yeah.
New York Times.
Good. I'll give you one.
Changed from what we texted.
We've been driving around and we didn't see it, the tent.
Hi.
So we've been driving.
So I'll see. Yeah, I think it's best to call them up all together, so they kind of have that emotional support from each other. And
Oh, yes, absolutely. More fun.
Hi, good to see both of you.
Good to see
Hi,
you too.
John, my husband.
Did you have
my husband,
did you have a safe trip?
Yes, very safe.
No. No clinks?
No clinks,
No clinks.
no drama.
You know, we had a few weeks ago, we were having afternoon thunderstorms.
Mhm.
And so anybody that was coming in
Yeah.
after like 3 o'clock in the evening.
There was,
delayed.
there was.
There was a delay.
Didn't pop out. Other things to fix. Those ones. Did you see Maya when she was here?
Yeah, yes. We took dinner together
Oh, good, okay.
at their house.
Ah.
Stand up. Thank you. No. Great life. This is Carol's
Nieces.
nephew-in-law.
Carol, nieces.
Wonderful. And this is Kate. Darlene is my other, married to my daughter.
Yes,
Her son was married to me too.
I see.
Where do you live?
Washington D.C.
We meet you at.
Yes, yes.
So I remember.
Very possible, good memory.
Yeah.
it needs.
Hi, Robert.
So this is our North Shore and Barry.
Very powerful.
There's John Silverstein. My son-in-law.
Yes.
You'll sit down. I'm gonna sit, why not you?
Why not you?
Anywhere virtually anywhere. I can sit down, I can you. Yeah. I'm just reading it very slowly. Yeah.
Yes, they are.
It's fast, but it's really, isn't it?
It's 1,000 pages. You should not be reading that long.
That's why blood's gonna take me forever.
Blood goes the one. Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm glad you watched.
Yes.
Yes.
NAD.
They all do.
Yeah.
I did it for,
That's like everything else.
You know who adapted it. Exactly. So that, I think of it again. That's who we gave our fighter's hand to this. Twice. Yeah, 501(c)(3). Yeah. And they put people with disabilities on the back. Yeah. Very good. Very good. Like her ad. Okay.
You and I, we want to get understanding. Yeah. Well, where's the space?
Well, no.
We have a role. She doesn't.
I feel like I just saw you. Sorry. Thanks.
No, I knew the shoe on the way, just to see. Be there. There's Danny over there. He's got it. Well.
Ladies and gentlemen, the family has been seated. There are a number of empty chairs. So if you'd like to take one, please don't be bashful. Maybe some of the older generation too. Mary. I don't want to use names too. Mary. More mature. Yes, the more experienced in our community. And if you guys want to come forward, and I can remind everyone to draw your second. Side. It's so fart. At least you're still around to be the old fart.
Yeah. I don't want to.
Harim Me'ayin Yavo Ezrin Esayenai Harim Me'ayin Yavo Ezrin Ezrin Me'im Hashem Ose Shamayim Va'aretz Ezri Me'im Hashem Ose Shamayim Va'aretz. I turn my eyes to the mountains. From where will my help come? My help comes from Adonai, maker of heaven and of earth. I want to welcome everyone and thank you for being here today as we honor the life of Carol Leimas and bring her to her eternal home. It doesn't feel quite right that it's such a beautiful sunny day here because there's a disconnect between the brokenheartedness that her family and loved ones feel and the beautiful day here as we look up to the blue skies and the mountains of Colorado. And yet the rituals of today's ceremony will help remind us of that brokenheartedness, but also the love that you all feel for your grandmother, for your mother, for your sister, for your mother-in-law and dear friend, so many others, an aunt, a very classy New York lady who came to Denver for her final years, but was a New Yorker, true and true. I'm Rabbi Sarah Shulman. I'm the rabbi at the Hebrew Educational Alliance. And now we move to a ritual of Kriya, of ripping traditionally clothing and now ribbons to represent that brokenheartedness. To begin, I'm going to read a poem by Rabbi Harold Schulweis that expresses some interpretations of this tradition. He writes, "Why rend the clothes? So strange to a tradition that admonishes not to break or to destroy. It is perhaps for the sake of anger against the unfairness of the world, anger against him or her, God or self. Is tearing the clothes to give outer expression to the tattered soul within? Or is it a parallelism, the death of a person like the burning of a Sefer Torah, for which tearing the clothes is performed? The burial of a human like the burial of a Torah. A human being is like a Sefer Torah. Studied, it has wisdom to impart. Lived, it has goodness to convey. Rend the garments from the Torah mensch, each of us a letter in the Torah scroll. Together our lives are intertwined, our common fate and faith, our common destiny. Find us like the stitches of the parchment. When any of us is lost, the holy text is torn. In memory, we are mended." I'm going to help you out. I'll lead you in the blessing. Take a moment. You guys are going to put it on the right side, okay? And there's a little pre-torn tear that after we do the blessing, we'll rip. This is a tradition that goes all the way back in the Torah for ancestor Jacob, who tore his clothing when he learned the news that his son Joseph, he thought was dead, as an expression of that broken heartedness. Please repeat after me. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Dayan ha'emet. You can go ahead and tear. That means, blessed are you, Adonai, our God, judge of truth, Adonai natan v'Adonai lakach, Yehi Shem Adonai mevarach. God gives and God takes. Blessed is the name of God. We continue with the words of Psalm 23. Mizmor leDavid, Adonai roi lo echsar. Adonai is my shepherd, I shall not want, giving me repose in green meadows, leading me beside the still waters to revive my spirit, guiding me on the right path, for that is God's essence. Though I walk through a valley of the shadow of death, I fear no harm, for you are with me. Your staff and your rod comfort me. You prepare a banquet for me in the presence of my foes. You anoint my head with oil, my cup overflows. Surely goodness and kindness shall be my portion all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of Adonai forever. The rabbis tell us that when the hour of death draws near, the one who is to be summoned hence runs for help. First to their loved ones saying, "Save me from the decree of death." But helpless and in tears, they reply, "We have no power over death. Then the one to whom death is summoning turns to her worldly goods and says, I have struggled for you so long. Give me strength and save me. But they reply, we have no power against God's final decree. The utmost knowledge of humanity, the most brilliant knowledge of science, the best that wealth can buy cannot prevail when a person's last hour has come. The one whose lifespan is closing then turns to her human record and pleads with the good deeds that she has done, saying, save me, save my life. But they reply, fear not, but go in peace. For we shall go before you to plead for you before the throne of mercy. From Pirkei de Rabbi Eliezer, chapter 34. In saying farewell to Carol, we say to her, fear not, go in peace, for the good which you have done in your purpose-driven life will plead for you from the pages of the book of life. The love you showed to your family and friends, the sacrifices of time, effort, and resources you made to support worthy causes dear to your heart, and everything which you stood for and accomplished to make life brighter for women and our world, this all makes up the record before God, with whom there is no forgetting. This is the legacy of cherished memory, which remains with you, who loved her and who have come here this day to pay the tribute of honor and love. We return Carol home. Well, perhaps not home, or we might very well be at a protest in New York City, but at least to peace and her eternal home beside Erwin. Carol Leimas was a force of nature. She was born September 12th, 1931, to parents Reuben. That's a good one. Yeah, exactly. Thank you. Oh, that's better. Thank you, Jim. Carol Leimas was a force of nature indeed. She was born September 12th, 1931, to parents Reuben and Lillian Charles in Queens, New York. Reuben was an engineer and Lillian was a homemaker, a fact that never sat perfectly well with Carol. She grew up with her younger brothers, Don and Robert, whom she adored. An intelligent, independent, and academic young woman, Carol graduated from high school at the age of 16. She headed off to Syracuse to study political science, of course, and then traveled to Paris on a Fulbright scholarship. In many ways, Carol was a woman well beyond her time. She settled in Manhattan after returning from Paris and worked for a variety of NGOs, including the ADL and several others focused on important women's issues. Carol was also very involved in the American Association of University Women and the Women's City Club. She was an ardent political activist and never missed a protest if it mattered. Carol met Erwin in 1953, and after 10 years, she finally submitted to marry him. They eloped in 1963 and intertwined their lives while Carol stayed true to her feminist values. The couple traveled together extensively internationally. They enjoyed reading the New York Times cover to cover and engaged in heated political discussions over dinner. In 1973, they welcomed little Stacy into the world. While Carol may not have aspired to be a mother, she stepped into the role in her own unique way and was supportive of Stacy, helpful with her schoolwork, and proud of her daughter. Carol was not one to sit on the sidelines like other soccer moms. Nevertheless, she grounded Stacy in a life of values and a purpose-driven existence, as if living out an answer to the poet Mary Oliver's perennial question, Tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life? In addition to involvement in local and national politics, Carol was a proud Jew and an ardent Zionist. She and Erwin had many Jewish friends in their New York circle and were generous hosts to others who came to visit. They welcomed Jeff and the Hochstadt family warmly into their family and loved to host Don when he was in town from his worldwide adventures and missions. But perhaps what softened Carol the most was becoming a grandmother. As Jeff reflected, grandkids filled a place in her heart that she hadn't even known she had. Carol loved your visits to New York and Florida and would spend hours planning every detail, developmentally appropriate on steroids. She was the ultimate host for many, an independent woman who always had a bed ready for another to sleep on or an outing planned at her fingertips. After Erwin passed away 10 years ago, Carol made the conscious choice to take her grief along with her memories of her beloved husband and keep living. She continued to travel, socialize with friends, give generously, and spend precious time with her grandchildren while she could. It took COVID to convince Carol to come to Denver, though only with one carry-on. Rather than staying a week, she stayed the rest of her life. These last few years have not been easy, and yet they have been peppered with meaningful family visits at the Carillon. It only seems fitting that Carol spent the last few days of her life surrounded by family who came to mean so much to her. May Carol's values, teachings, and the fire she brought into the lives of others through her words, passions, and deeds be a source of enduring blessing to her family and to all who loved her. May she now rest in peace. May God bring comfort to all those who mourn, and let us say, Amen. It's now my honor to welcome up her daughter Stacy to share a few words and memories. Feel free, if anyone wants to just scooch into the shade, don't be shy.
You said you were gonna live to 105, but your body didn't cooperate. I knew it was an unrealistic goal, but I really believed you would make it. Perhaps because of the number of times you said it. Or maybe because you usually succeeded when you set your goals. Wow, did you live your life to the fullest? Independent, strong-willed, fearless, feminist, trailblazer, curious, smart, passionate, world traveler, liberal Democrat, mom, grandma. These are some of the words that best describe you. You were born in Queens, raised in Portchester, educated at Syracuse, and then lived in Manhattan for 66 of your 93 years. You were a New Yorker through and through. With your big apple edge and cosmopolitan swagger, you always knew where to find the most authentic smoked fish, the freshest arugula, the best black and white cookies, the Chinese restaurant with the free wine, and bagels that were crisp on the outside and chewy on the inside. When I was a kid, we shopped for bargains on the Lower East Side. before it became hip. And at Loman's in the Bronx, before it went out of business. And of course, you knew your way around Bloomingdale's and Macy's with your eyes closed. Friends and family knew Carol, the tour guide extraordinaire. Nobody else would even try to make plans when you were involved. Why? You had it all covered. You were up to date on which Broadway shows were in preview, the latest exhibit at the Met, and where to have lunch afterwards, the street fairs with the best tchotchkes, and of course, how to get everywhere in Manhattan by bus or subway with only one transfer and all indoors. You were born on September 12, 1931 in Queens, New York, on your father's birthday. As you would say, your father was your hero. Using his engineering skills, he built you a swing set seesaw and trapeze in your backyard. When you almost died from pneumonia at age 5, your mother quit her job and decided to have more children. Don was born 2 years later, and then Bob 4 years after Don. You met your best friend Judy because she lived across the street in Queens. And testament to your love, devotion, and capacity for friendship, you've remained best friends to this day. At Portchester High School, you were the salutatorian of your class. Graduating at 16 because you skipped a year and had a late birthday, you headed off to Syracuse to study psychology. While at Syracuse, you fell in love with politics and policy and all things French. A year in Paris on a Fulbright scholarship was your dream come true. You also managed to meet a handsome French-Moroccan student on a ski trip to Austria. Alas, that romance wasn't meant to be, but you went to Morocco to visit him and his family and fell in love with traveling. You didn't want to become a secretary or a teacher, and those were the primary careers available to young women in the 1950s. So you pushed on the glass ceiling and found yourself interesting positions at a number of NGOs, including the Anti-Defamation League, the World Affairs Center, and the American Association of University Women. You met Irwin at a political club in 1953, but it took 10 years for him to convince you to get married. The first time you met, you had another boyfriend, so you weren't interested. The second time when you met, 5 years had passed, and you were both working on the for the West Side Democrats on the congressional election campaign of your college boyfriend, Ted Weiss. You thought marriage was a trap, and you certainly didn't want to be tied down with children. However, Irwin finally wore you down and presented an ultimatum: get married or break up. You chose the latter. However, after a week, you missed him too much. Before you could change your mind, and much to the chagrin of your parents, you ran off and eloped to City Hall, honeymooning at the plaza for one night and calling them afterwards with the news. Your mom was apoplectic. She arranged a second wedding in a rabbi's study, followed by a reception in their backyard a month later. Sadly, your father's photographer friend got drunk, so you don't have many pictures of either wedding. And then it took another 10 years for me to come along. At 41, you found yourself with a newborn and moving to the Upper East Side. You told me that you didn't find me interesting until I was about 3 and able to talk. You were able to continue your career by working part-time for the American Association of University Women. You loved attending the United Nations Women's Conferences, including the ones in Nairobi and Copenhagen. Long after you retired, you shared your passion with me by taking me with you to Beijing to the last UN Women's Conference in 1995. For many years after you retired, you volunteered for the Women's City Club of New York. In addition to leading tours all over New York City, You were involved in housing issues and many other causes. You also made many friends who shared your interest in both local and national politics. In the 1990s, you and Irwin went to Naples, Florida to celebrate a business deal. Surprisingly, you liked it there, and he convinced you to try spending time there during the winters, slowly turning both of you into snowbirds. While Irwin continued working and playing tennis in Naples, you changed your pace, traded in the city lights for walks along the beach and relaxing by the pool. But ever the consummate planner and organizer, Naples newspaper at the ready, you became a regular at local arts festivals and the Philharmonic. Days were spent buying fresh produce at the Grove, reading books, and trying new restaurants. With more time on your hands, the New York Times crossword puzzles, even Sundays, were always completed. Many of your friends and family, including us, every winter break, came to visit. You used to joke that you were running a bed and breakfast. You entertained everyone. When Irwin died in 2015, you soldiered on. You walked every day and continued to attend water aerobics classes at the 92nd Street Y. As we started to hear news of COVID deaths, you reluctantly flew to Denver in March of 2020. I asked you to pack a big suitcase with enough clothes for a few weeks. You showed up with a carry-on. At 88, you had been living alone in New York City and would be damned if anyone was going to tell you what to do. You spent 5 months cooped up with us, playing board games with the girls and going on lots of walks. Then, also reluctantly, you moved to senior living at the Carillon, starting in independent living and moving to assisted living, and then, unfortunately, memory care. The last couple of years have been rough. As you used to say, old age ain't for sissies. However, memory care takes it to a whole other level. You fought your caregivers daily, tried to run away, insisted you were correct, even in the most undignified and ridiculous of circumstances, trying to hold on to your independence at all costs. Throughout my life, you have supported me and prioritized me. You welcomed Jeff into the family with open arms. You rained love on your granddaughters and took great pride in their accomplishments. Mom, I will remember you as someone who spoke her mind, defended her principles, and didn't care what anyone else thought. You were so far ahead of your time. You were fearless, and you taught us all to stand up for ourselves and others. You made me and everyone around you believe that you would defy the odds and live to 105. I wish you had. I love you so much.
Thank you, Stacy. Thank you, Stacy, for your beautiful words and testament to your mother. We now welcome up Julia, Zoe, and Maddie to share some memories of their own. Why don't the three of you guys come up together, okay? You can take it off like your mom would want, okay?
My grandma Carol. I'm sitting beside you right now as I begin to write them, trying to understand how this is all happening. We were having a conversation about my trip to Israel just 2 months ago. Now I'm reflecting on every memory we've shared together. How lucky am I that there are so many that come to mind. I always enjoyed staying in your New York apartment in the study room on the pull-out couch, or going downstairs to 16 Handles for froyo every night, or bringing you along for a long shopping day in the city. Despite not growing up near you in New York, I've always felt that we were able to spend a lot of time together. One thing that I've always admired about you is your will to live. You are a fighter, You would always tell us that you were planning to live a long life, preferably to 105. I have always admired your strength and determination. You were determined to live a long, happy, and successful life, and we all know that you did this and more. One of my favorite memories with you is going to the American Girl doll store together. All of my friends had been getting American Girl dolls, and I was so jealous. For my birthday gift, we went to the store in New York and picked out Rebecca together. She was a brunette Jewish girl just like me. We sat at the American Girl Cafe afterwards, and they even gave us a high chair for Rebecca to sit in. I played with Rebecca all the time. Whenever I played with her, I thought of you. I will always think of you when we go to Naples. Thank you for sharing your favorite place with us. I'm so grateful for all the time we got to spend together in Pelican Marsh. I loved going on walks around the neighborhood with you, eating at all your favorite restaurants, and going to the outlet mall together. When we were little, I remember waking up early in the morning and hanging out with you and Grandpa. We had our own special time before my parents woke up. We would make breakfast and sit by the pool together. I also specifically remember you always greeting us at the Naple house with a platter of shrimp cocktail and a huge smile. Looking back, COVID was such a blessing for us. Back in March 2020, within a few weeks of hearing about the virus, you and my parents made the decision to move you to Denver. You stayed with us for about 6 months while we tried to figure out the next steps. While in the moment, these 6 months felt chaotic, I'm so grateful for this time. We went on walks together, ate dinner together, and I got to learn more about your life. Then when you moved to the Carillon, you were only 5 minutes away. We're so lucky that we got to see you so often for the past 5 years. I want to thank you for being a constant support throughout my 20 years of life. The first question you always ask me when I see you is, tell me what you're up to. You have always wanted to know about my life, and you have always been so proud to show me and my sisters off to others around you. Almost every time I would visit you at the Carillon, you would walk around and introduce me to everyone, even if you didn't know the person. I will never forget your reaction every time I walk into the Carillon. I'm greeted with a mouth drop, smile, and a jump up from your seat. I don't think anyone has ever acted more excited to see me than you. Even when you weren't 100% sure of my name, you always knew it was me. While not one to talk about my belief in God, I do feel that someone or something was watching out for us these past few days. I was so nervous I wouldn't make it home to say bye to you. I'm so grateful I did. I'm not sure if this was you waiting to see me or some really good luck, but I know the timing was meant to be. I love you, Grandma Carol, so much. Thank you for everything. Dear Grandma, it pains me because I don't remember as much as I should, but I want to hold on to what I can remember. My first New York memory with you was when you took us to the Tenement Museum. I only really remember the ladder there, but I remember that you trudged us all through the city just to show it to us. Your living in New York alone up to age 88 is inspiring. I aspire to have your commitment to independence. I also aspire to live in New York one day, which I know you would love. I will walk the same streets you did and enjoy the food as much as you did. Speaking of food, I remember the insane amount of food you would buy when we came to visit and how much I enjoyed the comfort of your home. Although we would sleep on air mattresses, I still always felt comfortable and safe. The comfort of home carried over to Florida. Even though you will no longer travel there with us, whenever we go, we will feel you there. Florida has become my second home because of you, and I can never thank you enough for that. I know you weren't super happy about having to move to Denver during COVID, but I'm grateful that I got to see more of it. I wish we spent even more time together. I loved our Monopoly and checkers nights. You always begged to help my mom cook, which she hated, but I always thought it was funny. I also thought it was funny when you would come upstairs for a midday nosh. I admire you for pursuing your passions all through life. Being a feminist when feminism wasn't
feminism wasn't cool yet must have been hard. But because of you, I can go to college freely and be as independent as I want. Your work benefited so many people, and I'm so proud that you are my grandma. At camp, I always got such a big smile on my face when you sent me mail. And even when I was home, you always sent me the most heartwarming emails that I will cherish forever. My email birthday cards were always a highlight. You lived beautifully, fully, and without regret. I'm so blessed that you were in my life and that we got to make so many memories together. I hope I live as long and as fully as you did. I will miss you so much, but I know that you will be with Grandpa Irwin from now on. I love you and always will. Grandma, I'm standing here at your funeral and it still doesn't feel real. I feel like you're here with us right now. We're visiting. Like any regular day. I can't wrap my mind around the fact that you're gone. You played such an important role in my life, and I deeply looked up to you. I always looked forward to visiting you when I was younger and walking around the city together. That is one of my best memories. And walking around Florida. And Monkey, that one stuffed animal that was kept in your apartment. I got excited to see it every time I came. It may have been ruffled up and not in the best shape, but it always brought me so much joy and it made me appreciate your love for me. Your apartment was cozy with a warm scent that never changed. And as I walked in, I immediately felt your love. I'll never forget the night you decided to teach me how to play checkers. I never thought that game would be a fun activity. I thought it was an old person's game, but I surprisingly really enjoyed it. We played so many rounds and I don't think I won any of them. But I got better each time we played, and I love to watch our bond grow through a simple game of checkers. We spent many hours playing that game as well as Monopoly during COVID and going on long walks every single day. Although we were stuck and cooped up together and got to spend a lot of quality time together. It was so nice waking up and knowing that I had someone to hang out with who lived just downstairs. And even once we moved into the Carolon, it was only 5 minutes away, and I still love to come over and hang out with you. And when I walked into her new room for the first time, it still had that same feeling of warmth and love. Partially because some of the same furniture and art were there, but more evidently because you were there, giving that same smile and greeting us at the door and welcoming us in with open arms. Grandma, I love you so much. I'm going to miss you more than words can say. You were such an important part of my life, and I know it's going to be very difficult to live without you. I love you.
Thank you, each of you, for sharing such beautiful, heartfelt words and memories of your grandmother. What a testament to who she was to you and to the world, and her lasting impact and legacy. When All That's Left is Love by Rabbi Alan Maller. When I die, if you need to weep, cry for someone walking the street beside you. You can love me most by letting hands touch hands and souls touch souls. You can love me most by sharing your simchas and multiplying your mitzvot. You can love me most by letting me live in your eyes and your deeds and not on your mind. And when you say Kaddish for me, remember what our Torah teaches, love doesn't die, people do. So when all that's left of me is love, give me away. We now come to the moment in which we are going to bring Carol to her eternal home. A word of explanation. This is a unique situation. Irwin and Carol fought for a couple decades about how they were going to rectify a difference of philosophy about the end of life. Like so many things, they lived in love and interconnection, but also had their own distinct, fierce opinions. And Erwin was insistent that he wanted to be cremated, while Carol was insistent that she wanted to be buried and quite repulsed by cremation. And so they sat down with Feldman's many years ago, and they came to an agreement, which I think is symbolic in many ways of their marriage and so many other ways, what I call the 2-for-1 deal, in which they would come together and be reunited, but in their own ways. And so we bring them to their eternal home together. There's a sense of reunification and also maintaining their own wishes. And what a beautiful testament to this family that they were able to see that through. So at this time, we're going to lower the casket to bring Carol to eternal home, and then we will participate in the burial, an act of high mitzvah. In Judaism, chesed shel emet, because it is one that can't be reciprocated. And so there's a little bit of dirt over here because with the manual here, they use vault. So it's not maybe as much of a mound that you might expect, but it's enough for us to be able to show our love and to tuck Carol and Erwin in together, to be able to show our hesitancy to do this act, and yet also a sense of love and compassion as well. Shalom, Imrama, Uyas and Shalom Aleinu, Be'ato Yisrael, Be'imru, Imru, Amen. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, Be'ato Yisrael, Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, Be'ato Yisrael. Oteh Shalom Nimroma, Uyaseh Shalom Aleinu, Ve'yakol Yisrael, Ve'imru, Imru, Amen. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, Be'alko Yisrael, Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, Be'alko. invite up anyone else who would like to come show your respects.
For the return first, and so when you bear the crown, that's a criminal. They're here. You care about this. Me. It's me.
You've done a voice on the other end of the phone. So awesome. It's so fun. I remember that. We're studying the family tree. We're now gonna support the family and the recitation of Warner's Cottage. I'd say end one phase and begin another one, of mourning, of memory, of bringing Carol's life and legacy into the world. And so we have a role to play in this by saying amen at the appropriate times to show our support of the family. Yikadal v'yikadash shemei rabbah. V'yamad v'yvrach v'yirtei v'yamlich malchutei. V'chayekon v'yomekon v'chaye v'chol beit Yisrael. V'gala u'vizman kari v'imru amen. Yehi shmei rabbah miborach leolam omei omayas. Yikadal V'yishtabach v'yipa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmedikucha v'rifus la'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tush v'chata v'nechemata damiran v'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom v'imromav hu yaseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. We now stand as we're able to for the El Molei Rachamim Memorial Prayer. Amalei Rachamim, Jochen Bam Romim, Ametzeminu Kanechona, Achad Kanfei Hashvina, B'malo Kiroshim Utorim, Kezohar Harakia Mazhirim, and Nishmat, Carol Barumen Lillian, Shalchacha Be'olama, Vegan Eden Menukata Anaval Harachamim Astirecha Beseter Konfecha Leolamim Utsuror Bitsuror Achayim Enishmata Adonai Unachalata V'tanua v'shalom al mishkava then Amar Amen. El Malei Rachamim, exalted, compassionate gods, grant infinite rest in your sheltering presence among the holy and the pure to the soul of Carol Leimas, who has gone to her eternal home. Merciful one, we ask that our loved one find perfect peace in your eternal embrace. May her soul be bound up in the bond of life. May she rest in peace. And let us say, Amen. Shiva will continue tonight and tomorrow night from 6 to 8 at the home of Stacy and Jeff. That concludes our service tonight. We're going to do one final ritual, and that is to make 2 lines or shurot to show our support and comfort to the family. So I invite you to join over here as we make 2 lines to surround them in our love and say the traditional words, Hamakom Yenechem Echem B'tok Sha'ar Avilei Zion Yerushalayim. May God bring comfort to you among all the mourners of Zion and Jerusalem. Fitting words for Carol, who was such a lover of Israel and its people. They offer some measure comfort to the family at this difficult time.
Gentlemen, thank you. That does conclude the service. We do have directions and the ship information if anybody. Thank you.
Nope. Nope, okay. It's nowhere, but no one's talking about. Yeah, yeah, I don't think it would have been the right time. Exactly, exactly, yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah, Angela, or, no, yeah, oh. Oh. Oh.